In this episode of Mwah TV, I'm going to be helping you get more creative and proactive when it comes to brand building on social media. So that's content ideas galore, plus a whole heap of brand strategy. What could be better? If you're aiming right now to get more consistent about how frequently you post on social media as a way to attract more of the right people into your business, you're going to see exactly how to do this whilst affirming your brand message and working out your strategy behind the scenes. Perfect for the time-poor business owners out there. Oh, and there's a really cool freebie here as well, so make sure you stick around to check out how to get that for yourself. So why did I make this? Months ago, I decided to interview 30 female business owners who all fit the description of a real expert in their field. Now, I define this as someone who has invested heavily on getting niche qualifications and then getting experience in a corporate setting within that same field. They're now running their own service-based business, which basically just means they're delivering their expertise independently. She's probably over 25 years old. And let's be honest here, that's just the way that age tacks up by the time you've calculated the niche experience, maybe plus normal formal education and a few years to really figure out that corporate isn't right for you. That person's probably going to be over 25. She's worked in corporate and then for whatever reason, she's decided it wasn't the right fit for her and she's decided to strike out on her own. So in short, the systems let her down. This could be financial, so maybe she's hit the glass ceiling very early in her corporate career. It might be to do with time and juggling a young family, or it might have been just to do with a wider, more spiritual quest of trying to find freedom beyond the typical 9-to-5 lifestyle. Oh, and the final one is she has to consider herself as a little bit different when it comes to comparing herself maybe to her siblings or wider family, in her friendship group, with her colleagues when she was back in her corporate days, and with colleagues who are also independent people operating in the same market as her. One of the most interesting findings from all of that juicy data that I managed to gather was how inextricably linked each of these expert female leaders thought social media was when it came to considering their wider marketing plan and branding strategy. And let's be clear, every single one of those women was quite ambitious about how they wanted to grow their business in the next 3 to 5 years. These women all worked, by the way, in industries like property, tech, finance and money, different areas of psychology and coaching, and a lot of different types of private medical care. And when I challenged these women about the building blocks and the branding fundamentals that they should probably consider before social media, which, by the way, is what I talk about on this show all the time. If you're new to the channel, it is a lot about that. And I explain why these things need to come before an output like social media. Generally, their response to me was, Laura, I haven't got time to live my life. Never mind prioritize something like branding fundamentals. Even when I challenged them further, and they ended up usually agreeing that it made logical sense to get those foundational branding blocks in place to build the business on top of. And actually, in some cases, they agreed that actually that was what was missing in their business growth trajectory plans. These women still felt totally overwhelmed with the lack of time that they had in their life, as well as in running and leading their business. So in order to help these expert female leaders with this time heavy problem, I came away from those conversations and thought, I've got to help these women out. They're all amazing. They're all such experts and so clever in what they're doing. What can I do to solve this problem for them? I had to find a way to help them cut to the chase so that they could build their brand effectively whilst also working on social media presence and all of the other things that happen when you're a woman in the modern world trying to run a house, maybe lead a family and build an incredible business empire. I'm sharing the solution to that problem with you here today. Who is this good for? If you feel like I've just completely described you and you're watching this right now and you weren't one of those women that I did an interview with, then hey, mwah. And on the other side, if you don't fit the exact profile that I just laid out for you there, don't worry and stick around. This clever tool is probably still going to help you if you're an ambitious person who wants a business of their own, or you could already be full pelt out trying to achieve your business dream. And I'm also willing to bet part of that is you want to build up a brand to help you with that journey. And maybe you're specifically looking for your brand to support you with increased sales. Maybe it's to attract the right investor so you can get to the next stage of your business. Or you might just want to really affirm your presence in the market right now. Or let's face it, it could be a unique combination of those factors I just mentioned. Either way, if that sounds more like you, definitely stick around. This tool is going to help you. You should consider subscribing to my channel, Moi TV, if you feel like I'm speaking to you directly right now, regardless really of which bio I just laid out. This channel is dedicated to people like you who are trying to run a business and have a life of freedom. You know you've got brand problems, but you don't really understand what all the lingo's about. You want to be more creative. I'm the person who helps sort that out. You can subscribe, and when you hit the bell, you'll be notified every single time a new episode comes out. Try me out, watch a couple of episodes and see if they help you. If they do, I'd love you to reach out to me on social media or with a DM and let me know all about you and your business so far. Number crunching. I went into creating this tool thinking that I wanted to give someone some easy content creation ideas, but they're ideas that help you really affirm what your brand is about on a deeper level than what you've probably already posted about before. And I figured if I gave you about 53 ideas, that's probably plenty of post ideas to see you through a whole year if you were posting every week, with the idea that maybe one didn't fit or you wanted to go a little bit beyond a year in your planning. So if that's you right now and your main goal when it comes to social media growth is to post once a week, this absolutely will scratch that itch. You can fill this in and you're going to have definitely 53 posts, no problem. If you're looking to step things up a little bit and you already feel pretty confident with maybe putting out more of a sales type post every week, then this is easily going to double your post frequency. Even if you're someone who is mega consistent when it comes to posting on social media and you feel pretty comfortable in posting like 4 to 6 times a week, by the way, turbans off to you for doing that because that takes a lot of work. Having this layer of extra brand affirmation within your content, so this time it's going to be more like peppered in with all of the other great content that you're creating, means that you're going to start underpinning exactly what you're about and most importantly what makes you different from all of the competition. So if those users are checking you out before they buy, they're savvy, they're going to be checking out your competitors. These are the posts that will help you differentiate. By the way, I've got a really cool episode on differentiation. You can check that out here and I'll put a link to it below in the show notes for after this. And it's also worthwhile noting here that if you're a fan of content repurposing and you find that that's a really efficient way of showing up frequently without putting in as much effort as coming up with 6 unique posts every week, trust me when I tell you, every single idea generator within the tool I'm about to show you is perfect for content repurposing. I've even got an example coming up. So you see, there really is no reason why after having this tool, you're not going to be able to come up with a bunch of amazing content that's going to last you for at least 1 whole year. Time for a sneaky peek. Okay, let's do it. Let's have a sneak peek of what this tool looks like. So let's dive in. I've broken down this downloadable into all of the key fundamental parts any quality brand needs to have to be really strong and successful. And as you can see here, I've got us on the first section and we're going to be beginning with the brand strategy fundamental of values and ethics. So this is the first bit in the entire workbook. And this page here, I'm just going to scroll past it. This explains exactly what values and ethics means, why it's so crucial to have this within your branding foundation. And then if we get to the next page, you can see where I'm starting to prompt you to think about how this piece of your branding strategy can be articulated in a number of succinct social media posts. So you can see here, the first question reads, what one thing does your brand change for the long term in the world in this point in history? I'll read that again. What one thing does your brand change for the long term in the world in this point in history? I'm back in the room, and here is that same question as a reminder, so you can keep reading that through as I'm talking here. So the challenge here that I'm getting you to really start considering is, what's the wider cause that you want to officially affiliate your business with? Now, the obvious, you might want to choose something that is closely connected to your sector. So quick examples for you here might be a female money mindset coach who wants to donate money and be publicly giving to, or she might want to be more of an ambassador and a champion for financial abuse. So we know that this is something that happens a lot more for women than it does men. So you can see the connection there. She's a female money mindset coach who's helping a cause to do with female money issues in the real world. And that's happening right now in history. So you see how that answers the first question. Or let's think of another example. What about if you're in the world of property? Another obvious related example is that you want to do something to help the homeless. Now, if nothing feels like the right fit here when you're trying this out, or you know that there's other people in your marketplace who are already doing all of the things you can think of, don't worry, there's another way to tackle this. And that is to pick something that just means an awful lot to you, and by definition, it should also mean a lot to your perfect client. It's one of the ways that you connect on a soul-to-soul way, outside of the transactions of doing business. I'm thinking about an accountant who really loves their dog, has had dogs all their life, and being a dog owner and loving of dogs is a big part of who they are as a person. You could very easily find a dog charity, or you could affiliate your business with a dog-related event. And that might be to help dogs specifically in your local area. If you're a locally based accountant, you might want to pick a region if that's more suitable for your business reach. Or you might want to go national with this. You might want to find a charity or an organization that you can pair up with that covers every single dog in your country and the care of those dogs. You can also go a little bit more esoteric with this. What about if you're an operational expert? So you work with organizations to get them operating better so they can make money faster. And you yourself, you love going outdoors in nature. It's the way that you shut off from work. It's the way that you escape from the world. It's what charges your batteries up. Now, you could give back financially there by, I don't know, helping to plant trees or something in the local area. There's lots of different natural related charities that you could find quite easily. But you can expand on that further when you start getting creative with this. You might add that natural narrative into all of the ways that you show up online, because you know that your perfect client probably needs to find some ways to look after their mental health if they want to get to the next financial goal that you're there to help them achieve. So you can see how that's added in an extra couple of threads into the wider creative narrative. That's exactly what this question is trying to get to. Working all of this into a post. Now, once you've decided on this, or you're already confident with the answer to this question and you've already spent some time to figure this out, we can start crafting this information into effective brand affirming social media posts. Let's go with that female money mindset coach as the example. And I'm going to demonstrate this for you very quickly. And I'm going to try and turn that into 5 different social media posts. So here we go. So from this single question, let me demonstrate how you might do this and how you might chunk that down into 5 very different social media posts that are actually about the same thing. A single numerical fact on female financial abuse. So I'd make that a graphic heavy design to get the message across with a real punch. The second idea might be that you're going to do a selfie style shot of you to demonstrate a little bit of social proof. You're working directly with a debt charity. Maybe you're donating a talk on helping a group of women who are in debt and experiencing debt problems. And this is an example of you getting out in the community and walking the talk. You could have a professional brand photo of you. So this is like the glossiest version of you taken by a professional photographer. And you could even frame it as one of those reintroduction style posts that you see a lot on Instagram. And in that caption, you're going to tell your own story of financial transformation. So you've got the yin and the yang. You've got this backstory of you not being perfect with money, and then an aspirational image of you looking to say, look, I got through it, you can too. The fourth one could be a screenshot of a real life donation. So again, that's social proof. You can show by proof of how much money you just donated to a charity that relates to this cause. And the fifth post could be a save for later style post. So a bit more of a meaty carousel style post with a few different slides. And those slides could be made up of your top 7 ways that any woman of any level of financial means can work proactively to start building her own independent wealth. And any woman who's looking to do that is going to feel like she's going to save that for later and come back and check it out. So that last example I gave you of the carousel that we want people to save for later, that could be repurposed in a really beautiful way. So there were 7 different tips there, weren't there? There's no reason why you couldn't take each of those 7 tips and work it up into an in-depth, detailed blog post. You might decide that that's a whole framework for an expert talk you're going to deliver, where you go into more detail, but you're doing it on stage whilst also building some authority. Or you might want to just turn each of those 7 recommendations into 7 more detailed standalone social media posts. So that was one question from my free tool that we managed to work up into 5 to 12 different social media posts. Then potentially 7 more blogs on top of that, and potentially even a talk. There are 53 different questions in this free tool, so by those calculations, you could very reasonably be looking at creating 53 questions into 636 different unique social media posts. Now, when you chunk that down, that's almost 2 years worth of content to post something every single day of the year. So you can see just how much value there is here. Oh, and let me show you this extra fab addition that I decided to throw in at the last minute. I decided before I finished this document that I wanted to give you 12 bonus ways on how to optimize every single social media post that you're going to put out, with the idea that these 600 and odd posts that you're going to create, or 53 posts, are fully optimized so that they perform as well as they possibly can. There is absolutely no reason why you can't just take a look at this page and majorly level up your social media right now. To get a copy of this free tool, all you need to do is head on over to my website to www.laurapearman.com/brand-affirming-social-media-post-ideas. Then when you get to the landing page, scroll to the bottom, put your first name in here and then your email address in here, click the box and then hit the download button. And there's a link to this below in the show notes for you. What will happen next? So after you've done that, you're going to get an email in your inbox and it's going to ask you to confirm that you want to receive the download. Say yes, and then another email will quickly follow through, and in that email will be a button that takes you to the document. You can work through the document like this on your desktop, and then you can save it for later and come back to it. If you hit any blocks or you spot any gaps whilst you're working your way through this document, that is an extra bonus indicator that you have a particular area of your branding strategy either not figured out yet, or it's an area that is potentially a little bit weak in your business right now. In the business, we call this a branding gap in your business model. And the beauty of this is when you know exactly where you need to be focusing and prioritizing your attention when it comes to working on your brand strategy behind the scenes, it's so much more effective to work on the bit that's broken instead of going over and over and over on the bits that are working just fine. And the beauty of the document is that you can solve all this whilst also being consistent with posting on social media. So there will be questions that you can answer quite easily. Those answers inform the social media posts that you get out right now to give you enough time to focus on the gaps and the bits that are missing and figure those out, and then carry on with posting regularly simultaneously. Nifty, eh? Looking quickly next at performance. I don't want you to post and ghost here. I want you to really monitor how this works for you. And the simple ways that you can track how this is working is by looking at metrics like observing if you get any particular comments, especially follow-up questions about what you've posted. Obvious things like tracking new followers and new connection requests. There's a good chance that your latest post has triggered that. You want to keep an eye out to see if anybody's sharing these posts on their feed. And most importantly, any DM conversations that come up from this. The more complex things to keep an eye out for when you're tracking performance metrics and analytics can include overall engagement rate on your monthly performance, and you're going to compare that with before you started doing these posts to see if there's a engagement rate factor in the effectiveness here. You're going to take a look at reach in relation to the weeks and months when you haven't created content of this nature and compare that figure or those statistics with after you've done this. And the most important thing is your conversion rate from sales calls or conversations that happen after you've added this into your social media strategy or wider marketing mix. You might recognize two different terms. In this context, they're kind of the same thing. So you want to pay attention. Are you able to convert higher sales? Is there more sales calls and conversations as a result of doing this? Or are you getting less calls but better quality sales? That's the bit that I'm driving to here. Don't forget the link to download this free tool is below in the show notes for you. If you've enjoyed learning about brand building on social media with me today, I reckon you're going to enjoy these episodes that are up next. I'll see you next time. Mwah. Now, before you go anywhere, don't forget to subscribe. Mwah.